they've already got started. So. So, what this means is for government agencies and organizations that can government this rescind the Clinton mandate that they offer language assistance to non-English speakers, or as I refer to it, a waste of time and money. It allows them to choose whether they offer any services in language non-English. If they do, there probably will be some significant funding. If you choose to provide assistance in other languages, and you can that's absolutely
I couldn't even begin to imagine. That thing is far beyond our understanding.
English, but it's not languages in English. Press 2.
At some point, we'll have to put our heads together to see after we can figure it out.
But for now, we've got our plates full observing this biome, and I plan on enjoying the meal.
And of course, you have people who said this would be ethnocentric, that this would be Nazi-like, nationalistic, except that, it doesn't take into account that 180 countries is unofficial language. And by the way, 65 have English as one of their official languages, including India, Botswana, Fiji, the Philippines, Uganda. So India and Fiji can have English as an official language, but not the United States of America? This is how you know we've gotten so far off the beat that we've lost all scope.
I think it's funny that you got snooty on Fiji and not Botswana.
Well, I don't really know enough about Botswana. I think it's booyah, booyah. I only know when George W. Bush was in Botswana, and he felt very accomplished when he was saying, that's not Botswana.
I'm just happy to see that England is finally changing their official language to Farsi.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's going to be nice.
You gotta change the times,
Nice.
Yeah. Well, otherwise it's very hard to communicate with the men who are kidnapping your young ladies. Having choice is a good thing. And by the way, the same goes as it relates to having choices for doing your taxes.
I see. An egg.
It's almost as if the forest is more alive than usual.
If you're having issues with your taxes, don't go to some sketchy back alley tax firm. Call the pros at Tax Network USA. Tax Network USA has a preferred direct line to the IRS, meaning they know exactly which agents to deal with and which to avoid. Visit gnusa.com/Crowder today.
TNUSA.com/Crowder. April 15th is just around the corner, and that's National Rape Day. That's what we're doing.
That's not so good.
Yeah,
That's what it is. Rape prevention hotline.
another win for Donald Trump. This morning, Honda announced they're going to be using the Honda Civic in Indiana instead of Mexico to avoid potential tariffs.
Is this a win? The Trump win?
Yeah.
We do it again.
No. This is what it's all part of the second.
The same second?
Yeah, that's what it
Yes,
is.
they did.
So, that means that 2,000 more vehicles are going to be built in the United States. And the good news is they're not even made from the big three, and they're made in the States. They're ones that might actually work.
It's these Japanese companies. They keep going to the United States for their manufacturing.
I know. Well, they were going to go to Mexico.
Cheap labor.
And but I think it's, 40% of Hondas sold in the United States are imported from Mexico and Canada. So that's over 500,000 vehicles. So if more of these companies decide to start moving the manufacturing here, hey, that's a huge shift. And especially if it's something that makes sense for them financially. Do you see the power of tariffs? I didn't know that people that still drove Honda Civics after Fast and the Furious 4. I thought it was done.
It's not.
No, it's still going backwards.
Is it?
They do.
Yeah.
Now, how many Fast and Furiouses are there now?
Way too many. It's all China's fault. I hate China for that more than just about anything.
Yeah. Well, I hate them for running their people over with tanks.
Yeah, that's a bad thing too. But listen, Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, so they have to make crap for international markets.
I like like those movies.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. They're exciting and cool and realistic.
Yeah, it's just the threat of terrorists, not even the actual terrorists themselves. That's maybe stupid stuff.
Yeah, there's. Okay.
This time
Christmas story. Dillinger Escape Museum is there? I don't know. Let's go to this next one. I want to get to NATO and I want to get to why it's awful. It's so entitled, and this is really the theme of this moment in time. If people are going to say that America's arrogant, let's be arrogant. I don't even know that we should be in NATO. I know we should not be in the UN. We'll lay the brain on later. I think 50-50, 60-40, we should just pull from NATO. That's where I am at this point. And it starts with the kind of arrogance that you see. You saw it last Friday. That's obviously been everywhere. And you see the divided media. You can see the exact same story with different headlines. And you know who's lying to you. But then there's been some fallout. There's a little bit more that we need to get into. So it's time for Insane.
Is that?
Insane. So, unless you've been living in the as you know, the meeting at the White House where Zelensky was primed and ready to have a deal, a great deal, by the way, the mineral rights deal, which would have been brilliant because it would have guaranteed security because of financial interest. The United States would have allowed us to the same base, but not NATO. He just decided that he had to pull the rug out in advance and grandstand for the media. He was 10 minutes away. A peace deal. As you know, those last 10 minutes are so JD because you have manpower problems. Thanking the president in 3 days. Something in 2 weeks, of course, yeah. By the way, he's trying to say you're starting to done. Hey, if Putin says soup is hot, and Donald Trump says, careful, that soup is hot. Is he comparing the talking points? He said without the United States, you couldn't be competing with. Donald Trump was saying without the United States, you would last. Yes. So, I did issue a rant, by the way, that you can go and watch on my timeline at S. Crowder on X. Those you want, I thought that I don't want to recap them here, but this is a brief clip. Zelensky is more negative of the pervasive problem that we're dealing with, whether it's NATO, whether it's the UN, whether it's Russia, whether it's Canada. This idea that it's a never-ending supply of support from the United States, why do you bitch about it? This was to start with some semblance of truth. With the United States, guess what? Strong nations conquer weak nations. And by the way, I make no apologies. That's how the world works. That's how it still works if you don't have the biggest stick on your side. You don't want to be Russia? Well, they have several times the population. You do and you can't fight back. That's it. You're not Russia. Genghis Khan is going to give you a flag warning, but really he's going to come and conquer. Anyway, there's nothing you can do. Take it back. That's always been. That's why people are so is a harmful. The United States has the power that it is, and I'm not worried about this Canada. They'll understand that it was a lot of tools to considering military might be embarrassed. This deal, Zelensky was going to be signed until he had to grandstand. And by the way, it's like he read a book to deal with President Trump. Because to be
change your minds?
Yes, because he was given the opportunity to apologize and cable news, and he said no. And the Ukrainian public broadcast studio, Klarto, that was founded by Zelensky, posted this on their Facebook. And they made Trump on a piano. For those who don't know, this is trolling Donald Trump, implying that he's playing on Donald Trump with his dick here. It's also why we don't import Ukrainian mediums. Yes, but do you have your little hits, your little balls, your little McDonald's, but we as people who say have to play piano with pianists, very well.
You gotta go Jeff Dawes. Yes.
Okay. Donald Trump did post this after that on Truth. He said, "We had a very meaningful meeting in the White House today. I have determined that President Zelensky is not ready for peace. And America is involved because he feels taking advantage of negotiations. I don't want peace. He disrespected the United States and his changed the office. The people's office, but I spend a lot of time there. He can come back when he is ready for peace." So then...
He's allowed to come back.
Yes, he's allowed
He's allowed to come back after that.
Oh, he will. He will. But then to leave... Stupid it is. You're right. Oh, you're right. You know how stupid it is. It is the sole reason.
Bet I can set up camp there.
Damn, I forgot how to enter that bitch in.
The United States has contributed basically guaranteed security given the ability to save face. What's he had to do? He was not act like a child in that meeting, and certainly not go and make a dick joke. I mean, was it
Love a good dick, don't get a good dick, but yes, what does Europe get out of it? Out of our minerals? Nothing.
So, you know what? They do get some kind of security, but they don't get to fight over because the United States gets some security in Ukraine because, hey, there's a concept to be. It's now 64, and maybe we'll turn it down to 55. You know what this is now? This is that when you pull that ground, you know, your opinion is going to go. Figure what they're working on gas. It's more than what they've given to Ukraine. They're funding both sides of the war. By the way, we're being your big 14 version of the war. I mean, we're for you in 2022. This strong, united, big, bad, European Union. If you guys were strong to begin with, this would have never happened. If Russia had you sized you up and said it's not worth the fight, what issue is weakness in show you. Show you a video. I warn you, if you have children, probably should watch it. It's not graphic, but it's pretty heartbreaking as to how they actually get bodies for the war in Ukraine. Before that, if you are watching, hey, if you're not a Rumble Premium member, that's fine, but download the app. If you're watching on Rumble, download the app. You can cast to your TV. You only get notifications as to when we are live. It goes straight to your phone. You don't have to worry about an algorithm. Rumble, we own live. YouTube is dead. So when they talk about this, how strong Ukraine is, we are all united. Well, there's something that doesn't sit well with me. The United States providing, I know we haven't put boots on the ground, but providing any money to a nation that is fighting a war that its citizens believe in so little that the government has to kidnap them. The government has to kidnap men in the streets and throw them to the front lines, which, by the way, is a death sentence. It's not like World War II where people are lying about their age and claiming that they have good arches in their feet so they can go and serve their country. There's a huge percentage of Ukrainian men who are not willing to, and they don't want to fight for their country. If your own citizens aren't willing to fight for your country, you get not a dime from ours. Does that make sense? The people out there who think that Ukraine is filled to the brim with brave patriots who are willing to stand up to Putin. Well, you know what? I'm going to play this for you. You may be in for a reality check, and then I ask you, should we be sending money to the government that does this?
Footage like this of men apparently being confronted by military conscription officers or trying to escape them is being posted on social media in Ukraine.
Ukraine is fighting and Ukraine lives. We stand, we fight, and we will win. We are not ready to give our freedom to this terrorist Putin. That's it. That's why we are fighting. It's all okay.
We are going to fight for every inch of our territory.
Continue fighting for our land, whatever cost. We will stand and fight.
Ukraine holds its lines and will never surrender. All things which are Ukrainian will be Ukrainian. feel it now, but you will feel it in the future.
Hey, how about this? Go to the nation for a vote. Look, want to keep fighting Russia if you believe in this war? Okay, great. Unless all of you join the military, surrender. You're not going to fight. It's in your own country. Hey, if we have to kidnap one more of you to sit in the front lines to fight, we're done fighting. Tell me you don't want to fight. Listen, I don't want to send millions, hundreds of millions of dollars to a government so we can make it effect kidnapping conscripts. Is that sensible? You don't need to host an actual election. No, that's not. Just people, you say you want this, but you're not willing to fight. Start fighting. It's now Russia. We're going to get to NATO here, the entire. It really has been. I've been losing my mind over it this weekend. It pissed you off because I was raised in Canada. Where I would hear them all the time. You Americans are so. Just shut up. Just shut up. Everyone is entitled. The whole world bitches about how we don't have X, Y, and Z, and the only reason they are afforded the luxury of doing that is because the United States protects them. And you know what? We should hold up to the table in many instances. You wanted to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got the Trump collection, the Fight Like Hell for St. Patrick's Day. Your last day for that is March 7th. Make sure that you get it on time. Go to crowdershop.com to grab this one right here. Donald Trump, Fight Like Hell. He's doing a pretty good job of that, I think, right now.
Yes, I wanted to force you after that very intense montage to have to do. Applaud. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I wanted a piece of your soul to die. I wanted you to do the dirty work because forcing someone else to do your dirty work, it doesn't always go as planned.
That's right. So go to crowdershop.com right now. Grab one of these shirts. For every shirt that you purchase, one less person gets conscripted into the Ukrainian military.
I think other people do my dirty work.
It's a little chaotic. Reach back to
Yeah, it was fine. Excellent. 3 years. I was hoping you could help me out with something. What do you want, Sam? It's when I use Gerald C. and I need your help to. Someone use Gerald C? Yes. Yes. Gerald A. Gross. Well, I know that's why I'm going to need your help. It's him. It's your use it. It falls under your responsibility as a director. I need help.
Replace Gerald C. Somebody took it's a lot of use.
Also, someone gone missing.
Yes, that's true.
Any hole will do.
That's why he kills them every time.
Let's be honest. They're not exactly missing. It's not a Natalie Holloway situation. We could look through the desks of employees here and we could get to the bottom. That's right.
I wonder why turnover is so high.
Yes. So I want to get to NATO here and the entire timeline of these nations, these arrogant, entitled nations. And I mean that, and I don't care anymore. Let me step back. As someone who was raised in Canada, I always know the game that is being played when you see the Bernies of the world, when you see the leftists of the world, when you see the Democratic Party say, every other country provides insert whatever entitlement here. Now let's put that in the context of the nations who are supposed to be good neighbors, good allies, who actually provide these entitlements off of the backs of our defense. I want you to really closely connect the disproportionate amount of spending from the United States to protect Ukraine by proxy, Europe, and just how much more as a percentage of their GDP these nations spend on entitlements. And hopefully you'll start to get the picture. But you've heard this ad nauseum. America is the bad guy because we don't have nearly as much free stuff as places like Europe, Canada, insert inferior nations here.
Why is it that the United States of America today is the only major country on earth that does not guarantee health care to all people as a right?
It's more affordable to treat everybody. It's possible to treat everybody. People didn't get quality care, and they
That would be extreme.
which has worked out the system.
The United States of America is less superpower and more failed state, where infant mortality lags behind Bosnia and Cuba. This only happened in this country. And nowhere else. Nowhere else do little kids go to school thinking that they might be shot that day.
Universal free meals with every
Somebody wants
child
to make a
ought to
trade.
be something that we're all dedicated to getting done. So all that free stuff, I wonder why these European nations and Canada, I wonder why they've been able to splurge on these social programs. Does anyone? Noodles? Oh, there you go, that's right. Pre-Donald Trump, 72% of all the spending when you're talking about NATO has come from the United States. And let's also get that chart of the different
people
nations
from
and how
Zeus
much they
told me to
spend
tell you
based
they
on
said
their
hello.
promises and the agreements. That's right. You can provide all of these things because you don't have to spend on your national defense. And by the way, this is not something new.
Oh, Hunter.
You know that. This is not
Good
something
news
new.
for us.
Europe,
That means we're getting
Canada,
in higher.
they
You're
know
certain.
that they're being bad
Anything,
allies.
Happy to.
And they still do it anyway. For years, American leaders have been begging them to step up and start honoring their word.
There is no substitute for nations providing the resources necessary to have the military capability the alliance needs when faced with a security challenge. Ultimately, nations must be responsible for their fair share of the common defense.
The situation in Ukraine reminds us that our freedom isn't free. And we've got to be willing to pay for the assets, personnel, the training that's required to make sure that we have a credible NATO force and an effective deterrent force.
NATO members must finally contribute their fair share and meet their financial obligations. But 23 of the 28 member nations are still not paying what they should be paying and what they're supposed to be paying for their defense.
And that allows us to spend less time and less resources on the Middle East and focus more on East Asia. In the same way that we want our own allies to do the job in Europe so that we can focus on East Asia, I think that the same is true of the Sunni nations in Israel and the Middle East.
And of course, seeing that these nations have not met their contractual obligations, I guess there are no consequences if you don't. We know that the rest of us here in the United States, we're all thinking the same thing.
Stupid, worthless, no good, damn freeloading son of a retarded, big mouth, low-ass jerk.
Mr. Hughes had a way with words. Oh, hold on. Your microphone.
That was me. I had sneeze, but I did the sneeze. But by the way, I think we have a chart just to illustrate the point. Yeah. Oh, you see that line? That's kind of where maybe we should be spending money. And there's only a handful of people.
Yeah,
14 and 15. Us, Greece of all people.
Yeah,
Greece
Greece
the right amount. Well, when your
right.
economy is really small, it doesn't count.
Yeah,
like that. So.
And we're going to go through countries. All references available. Link in the description. What they've provided since they've signed on to NATO and not been spending what they promised the rest of the world they would on defense. We're going to go through this country by country so that you can actually have some context here. Before that, none of this happens without you. Rumble Premium, it's $99 a year or $9.99 per month. Rumble Premium is Mug Club, Mug Club is Rumble Premium. That is why we're able to do this and discuss all these issues. Mr. Nothing here, Donald Trump Jr., Listen Brand, now you get Tim and you get the entire experience ad-free. Wanted an alternative to YouTube? Here you go. The only reason we are able to do this and other conservatives are able to follow suit is because of Rumble, and it's funded by viewers like you. I'm not just saying that like PBS or NPR when they receive federal funding do. And let me ask you this. People say Donald Trump mean, okay? Before Donald Trump, no one was even close to honoring their agreement as far as spending. Now, when I say NATO spending, it's shorthand for they promise to spend a certain percentage of their GDP on their military, on their defense in order to be
What are we
a part of
making
NATO.
today?
That's almost the key to membership. So no one was doing this. Let me ask you this. Do you think Ukraine, well, even though they're not NATO, but do you think Europe,
Anything catch your
do you
eye?
think these nations would be better off if they'd have actually built up the military? Do you think they'd be safer? Do you think they would be facing this instability with a threat like Russia or potentially China if they would have done what they promised they would do? Is it mean for Donald Trump to be the only president in modern history to call them to task? I don't think so. I don't think that stern equals mean. I think demanding that your friends do the right thing when they promised you they would, I just think that's the right thing to do, and I think it's better for all nations. Let's look at Canada. Everyone talks about Michael Moore. Loves Canada. He always talks about healthcare and how friendly they are. I mean, it has 1/10 the population of the United States. They've been a member of NATO since 1949. Okay? Again, the target for all these nations is 2% of their spending. 2% in relation to their GDP should be spent on military and defense in order to be in NATO, right? So collectively, NATO is a power. 2%. They missed it. Of course, their spending was about 1%. 1%. What they promised. Remember the montage? Everyone said, oh, well, these other countries have. Okay, so cut their guaranteed, their promised spending in half, and during that same time, since they've been in NATO, what have they done? They provided universal health care, free health care. Well, I guess you have that $344 billion annually, 12% of your GDP when you're not spending on your military. Isn't that nice? Hey, shouldn't $100 billion of that be going to honor your word? They spent over $1 billion on zero-emission buses, which has been nothing but a problem. They spent billions subsidizing the planting of 2 billion trees. Didn't meet their NATO spending, no. Well, you know what? If the United States wasn't overspending on NATO, guess how easy it would be to provide a bunch of free shit. And now we're condemned for saying, hey, we're going to scale back on this so we can take care of our country, which is what these nations have always been doing. Only we're discussing scaling back what we promised, 2%. We've been paying close to 4%. These nations have been lying, have been screwing us, and providing entitlements. We're saying, let's just pay our actual promise so that we can help Americans. That's the evil. Let's go to France. They've been in NATO since 1949. They missed their target of 2% spending. They missed it by 1.79%, or have they been spending 1.79%? Close. It's close. Trees. It's close. For 9 years they did. We spend about 3.6 to 4. Some years have been over 4. And during that time, what did France do? Well, the universal health care, again, another $340 billion annually. Jeez. Free.
Ready to work.
It's a few $1 billion.
Alrighty. Perfect.
Spent on state visits at the French presidential palace. Not to mention, people throw a fit if you want to raise the retirement age. Of course, all the social. My point is this: they actually shouldn't even have any social safety nets until they meet their spending and until they reach their back pay. And I certainly demand that the rest of these nations don't bitch about us saying, yeah, we're going to scale back so that we can secure our own border. We are effectively securing the borders of these other countries. That's what we're really arguing. Borders with Ukraine. Where do those borders line up? Because the hell's going to be subsidizing any type of war for territory there when we're not even allowed to protect our own. Let's go to Germany. Germany. They've been a member since 1955. They've been spending, again, 2% target, 1.2%. 1.2%. So they have not honored their agreement, but they spent $522 billion annually on universal health care.
Ready to work.
Well, they tell us, arrogantly, you Americans are the only country that doesn't provide universal health care. Well, yeah, you know what? But you guys break your word. It's really easy to do.
What are we making today?
How about no billion to any other entitlements until you just honor your promise? By the way, during that same time, they can't possibly meet their military spending. They're agreed upon 2%. And it's an internet, a human right for all. So that's going to be free for everybody. Okay. They created basically propaganda broadcasting as well, right? Similar to Canada's CBC, to Deutsche Welle, $430 million a year. So you can't honor your international agreement where this is a long-standing tradition. Yeah, but instead of actually honoring the contract, you funded socialized health care spend $430 million on a broadcast corporation. Couldn't you just let companies do broadcasting, especially now with social media? Oh, that's right. You have to control your population because you don't have freedom of speech.
Right. How else are they going to control what you say? They
Yeah.
can arrest you for what you say on the internet if you're paying for it yourself.
Just right there, $430 million a year. All of that. Go right into the military. Socialized healthcare, make some cutbacks. $100 million. There you go. They can do it. They just don't want to because they expect us to do it. Spain, let's go to España with their stupid list. They've been in there since 1982, I believe. 0.9%. Not 2%, 0.9%.
Come on.
Less than half. Less than half.
Second to last.
But during that they increased their universal health care, $95 billion annually. That's 6% of their GDP. They have taxpayer-funded vacations for seniors.
What?
Yep. Seniors get to go on subsidized vacations, a 10-day vacation for $75. So,
Did they come back?
Right.
that's exactly what it was.
Yes. If they don't come back, I'm not, maybe not against it.
Just think about that. You're paying less than half, and you're subsidizing vacations for old people's photo albums.